What's
Hello
up,
there. We are
everybody?
live.
Hopefully, you guys can hear me without no issues. What's up, Tanisha? How are you doing? How was your weekend?
It was good. How are you, JG?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. You kind of scared me for a second there. Oh, I thought you couldn't hear me.
Yeah, we're having a few little technical difficulties, right? It's fine. We gonna power
Yeah.
through them.
All right.
Absolutely, power
All
through.
right. So what you done produced today?
So let's talk. We got a few things we got to talk about. We are not going to focus a lot on that man in office, but we do have a story about that may get you to question if he is cognitively fit to run the country. I mean, after all, this is a person who has the nuclear codes. Okay, so let's show you. Let's show our viewers here what is causing some concern.
We have a very, very special day coming up. You know, we have a lot of them during this term. And interestingly, I had none of them had I not had a rigged election. Had the election not been rigged, I would have been out of here. I would have been gone. The radical left would have said, we got rid of him finally. But no, now they have me for another 4 years. We talk about that. And in the other 4 years, you know, I sort of said, I got the Olympics to come in, and I got the World Cup. We have a very, very...
Okay, enough of that one. So I'll say this. It just, all the crap they gave Joe Biden, former president Joe
Mm-hmm.
Biden, right? I think this man needs to go to the the memory care learning care center, okay? The Green Acres Learning Care Center. Sign him up for a bed because it's either that or cocaine, like one of the two.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Maybe both. It might be both.
I honestly, the kind of shit that uh, the mental decline of an elderly person probably kicks in between 75, 77. And if he's on a downhill slope, then he sat there and talked about President Joe Biden, like he was a dog or some shit. So the shoes on the other foot, of course, his base is going to be more like, oh no, Donald Trump just, they're going to make up some kind of excuse for Donald. And at the end of the day, Father Time, Mother Nature always wins. And the reason why I say exclude Mother Nature, because death is part of nature, right? And Father Time is undefeated. So if he's losing cognitive sensories, that's better for us.
This is true, but only if we can get him up out of there. Now, this is one last a short clip I do want to show. Joy Reid, and she talked about this on her show, and this really kind of gives you more detail. That was just a brief video that someone compiled, right? But this is like the journalist talking about his cognitive impairment. Let's bring this up.
That Donald Trump is not okay. But his cognitive decline goes far beyond just verbal slip-ups. It's his increasingly deranged and dangerous rhetoric that's particularly concerning. Don't just take it from me. His own former White House communications director, Alyssa Farah Griffin, said in an interview this weekend that during his administration, Trump casually talked about executing people multiple times in meetings.
Caitlin Collins, to her credit, CNN interviewed Bill Barr and asked about an anecdote that I had shared about a meeting he and I were both in the Oval Office, where Trump straight up said a staffer who leaked a story should be executed. And Bill Barr kind of danced, said, like, I don't recall that specific instance, but there were others where he talked about executing people. And I'm like, how you rationalize that is a person fit in sound judgment to be president of the United States?
Yeah, so folks are paying attention that this man is not quite, it's more than just a cognitive impairment, like him slipping up, as we all do. Even on me on this show, sometimes my brain gets ahead of my mouth, right? So yeah, in this case, it's deeper than that.
It's deeper. What you got? What you got?
I mean, I just think, like I said, he's not fit to run. We talked all this again, like you said, all the crap that he talked about Joe Biden, and who is older? Is Joe Biden older by like a 1 year or so? They're around the same age.
Yeah, it's like Joe. Yeah, they're around the same age. But no, Joe is hit 80. He had 80, I think, during his presidency. Because when he
Okay.
ran again, he was like 77 or something like that. So
Okay. So Trump is slightly younger, right?
slightly, yes.
Okay. Yeah. But it's like with the argument that was talked about in the media. Do you remember all the talk that was talked about before?
I remember all of it.
Yeah, you
Very
remember
clear.
that. Yep. So how we can't make the same arguments, because here it is, we have somebody who looks like he just is not like all the again, as people get older, because who was the guy? I can't think of his name. I can see his face. He has some slip ups as well, and I think he stepped down. It's like he was it just like he blinked out for a long time, and it was very apparent. What is that man's name? McConnell.
Yeah, Mitch McConnell. Yeah.
Mitch McConnell, and he glitched. It was it was a glitch. It was obvious.
Yes.
Like it was more than just, oh, he made a mistake. Oh, he forgot something. Oh, he misspoke. No, it was a true glitch. Like just glitched.
Like he stepped into the Matrix. Like the Matrix had Paul. He had the way he glitched was like crazy. It wasn't even a human glitch.
Yeah, it was a bit it was a little tough to see, because it was like, oh, you could see it right there. Like, I'm like, did he have a stroke? What happened? Like, where is the ambulance, right? What's going on?
Exactly.
Like it's time for you to go ahead and you got good congressional health care for the rest of your life, right? Like, go ahead and be with your grandkids or your family. You know what I'm saying? It's
great
okay
at this point. Man, so damn
right.
old. He remember he celebrated Jesus' birthday with Jesus. That's how old his ass is.
How old is Mitch though? How old is Mitch? Is Mitch?
He was there. He was there when the Red Sea parted.
Oh my goodness, he was there. He was there with Moses.
He was there with Moses. Yeah.
Him and Moses was BFFs.
Yep. He was so old. Mitch McConnell so damn old. He was there when Julius Caesar got stabbed.
See, I shouldn't be talking about old people. Listen. I'm trying to secure my space. I'm not trying to go to the hot place. Okay. Listen.
Mitch McConnell so old. He got to take toilet breaks in his damn diaper.
He got the Depends. He got the Depends.
He got
right?
He got the Depends. That's a black man that hold that land. Oh, that was Mexican.
He'll be, so he just turned 83 in February.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, listen, one day, hopefully we'll be blessed to get old, right? I
Right.
pray to Devontae Christ. But I would say, as once I get up in age, it's certain things like I don't want to do no more, right? Like, I get it. I want to still be active and plan to be active. But I think when you get older, you have the flexibility and the freedom, and you done earned whatever it is that you got. You can be like, no, I don't want to do that no more.
That's true.
Because your advisors, he has the best health care. They have the best health care in the world. Your advisors can say, you know what? I think it might be time. Do something else.
I don't think they're not going to say that, because right now he's their meal ticket. He's the one that's paying their bills. So as long as he stays reelected, they still got a job. So I don't think they're going to push him out anytime soon. If anything, they probably starting to look for jobs, so they probably see him at the end of his time in this world. So they probably preparing themselves for, in case he does expire before his term ends. But you're not going to just say, hey, meal ticket, because they don't have a job after these guys get out of office. They got to find a whole other job.
Right. I do think he has a succession plan lined up, right? And and we didn't talk about this last week, but he did talk about potentially what the plan would be if he would run again. And I'm like, I know y'all lying for a
Of
third
course.
term. I know y'all lying.
But take him seriously. Hillary Clinton put out a statement that says if Donald Trump says he's going to run for a third term, you should start taking him seriously.
Oh, I
Because whenever
definitely agree.
Donald Trump throws out a feeler, he throws out the feeler to his MAGA crowd, and they the ones that say, yeah. They're like his cheerleaders. He's going to go on one of his daggone little rallies, little Trump rallies, and say, yeah, I'm going to run for a third term before he glitches out and rambles, and then he comes back, yeah, one more time, right? And then they're going to be like, yeah. And then Congress is going to be like, well, Donald Trump wants a third term, and the Senate going to be like, yeah, Donald Trump wants a third term. We should give it to him. And because it's Republican led, it's going to happen. And you know what's so interesting, Tanisha?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Democrats before our time, when your parents were, your parents was young folks. The
Right.
Dems ran the House and the Senate for 65 years. Didn't know it.
Oh, wow. I didn't know it was that for that long. Wow.
I didn't know it was that long either. And since I've been old enough to recognize elections and things like that, all I've known is the Republicans been running everything, and the country has gone to shit.
Do you know what time frame was? So this would have been in our parents / grandparents generation.
World War II, about
World
World
War
War II, after FDR, all the way up to Johnson, presumably. No,
Okay.
that's not even 60 years. I would say up to Clinton or Bush.
Up to Clinton.
No, Reagan.
Reagan.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, Reagan, a lot of the things that we're seeing now are Reaganomics, right? Trickle down economics, the cuts to social services programs, pension cuts, the busting of the unions, the how he did the FAA, all of these things, were what Reagan did. We're seeing the evidence of that, including the war on drugs, right? Like the Black community was harmed during his presidency.
Right?
Exponentially harmed. And we're still seeing the side effects of that. And that's why I always say that even when it comes to Trump, like I do not believe that just voting or the midterms or 2028 is going to get us out of it, because the things that he is trying to implement and put into place have lasting effects. Look at Reagan. I mean, Reagan was he was elected in 1980, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we are still fighting with one hand behind our back after all these years because of those policies and things that he put into place. And I think Trump is looking at that, and he wants to do the same thing.
Trump wants to be Hitler. Trump wants to be Putin. He wants to be Kim Jong-un. He wants to be Reagan. Trump don't know what the hell he wants to be. Trump just wants to be whatever gets him reelected. But that's you know what, Tanisha, remember we talked off air, and I said, I am so tired of this guy.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of him. Like,
yeah. It's been 15
can I say
minutes.
this?
Let's
Sorry,
change the topic. Because we did talk
No,
about
hold on. Yeah, hold on. I just want to say this to the viewers. Listen, I'm tired of him. He has changed and warped. He got into my head to where I'm looking at everybody in a negative light, and that's not the type of person I want to be or strive to be. I want to look at everybody fairly, and I do apologize. The Trump MAGA people, I'm not going to apologize to them. They're not worth the time to be apologizing to. But to those of you who did not come across in my reflection, who did not vote, who did not participate, I'm going to apologize to you for one thing. I'm sure you're not racist. Some of y'all are not racist. And I'm treating you guys as if you are. And that's where my apology begins and ends. Because at the end of the day, if that's not who you are, you're fine. I like non-racist people. Period. If you're not racist, We can have a conversation. Don't tell me your best friend is black. If I don't see that best friend at your house kicking in, foot up on the table, having a beer with you, don't tell me your best friend is black. You know what I'm saying? Show your best friend that is black. Y'all hanging out. Y'all do things together. His kids is calling you uncle because you're their godfather, and vice versa. Your kids is calling them uncle because you're, you know what I'm saying? They're your godfather. They're whatever. So if they ain't that, it's like, don't say your best friend's black. Say you got some black buddies, that's fine. That's okay. But Donald Trump had put my brain into I didn't like what I was seeing. So
Okay.
if we want to make a short-term conversation with Donald Trump, and I'm still talking to Beauty Signature. I'm sorry, guys. The last show we did, it took a lot out of me, and I apologize. That's it.
Okay, I understand. Definitely understand. Let's talk about, well, this is kind of like a Trump adjacent story, but we have given some entertainers, at least I have. We've given some entertainers a lot of criticism on our show, right? Because of their political stances. And so one of them that we've talked about has been Nelly. And Nelly performed at Trump's inauguration, right? But we,
inauguration party.
His inauguration, the inauguration ball, right? He performed. And so we really didn't really hear from him. Well, Nelly got a few things to say, and he appeared on Willie D's podcast. And I want to hear for you all to hear directly from his mouth about his performance at the inauguration ball.
Episode of information and instructions to help you navigate through this wild, crazy, beautiful world. Coming live and direct from the nation's capital, a legend, icon, a Grammy, something I ain't never got, man, but I really want to cuss it right now, but I'm going to go and salute you on it.
You damn sure deserve it. I appreciate that. Grammy
award-winning Nelly is in the building, man. Nelly, man, hey, King, it's good to talk to you. It's good to chop it up with you, man.
You too, my brother. You too.
Say, man, I knew that we was gonna be talking soon, but I didn't know we was gonna be talking about this.
Yeah.
Yes. So, man, when I hear people talking about performing at Trump's inauguration, I'm hearing all types of things, and then next thing you know, somebody say Nelly performing, and I say, hell no, hell no. Picked up the phone, say, man, don't do it, reconsider, and you told me something that was very interesting. At first, the conversation for me was I just wanted to know what you was thinking, but after you explained what your position, man, I had to fall back a little, because all of us have different experiences, and we all do things according to our experiences, and how we move. The way Nelly do something might be different from the way Willie D do something, but I don't make Nelly bad person.
We're having technical difficulties.
I think that's democracy is, right? That's what we're supposed to have, the option of choices, right? So what we'll do is we can sometimes make a quick, I would say, response to something that on the surface may seem like it's left up because we don't agree with something else. Like, okay. I told you, I said, OG, I'm not political.
All right. I'm going to stop it there.
I'm not.
I'm sorry. We're having technical difficulties on my end. I'm sorry. So I stopped it there. But Nelly was basically saying how he's not political. And this don't have nothing to do with him. So.
I'm listening.
That's his official word. And he's like, from what I saw earlier in the clip, and I'll paraphrase, is that he's not telling people how to vote. This doesn't have anything to do with him. This is not political. And it's interesting his stance on this. I think he's doing damage control now. I've seen him and Ashanti. I've seen Ashanti doing clear damage control. Like I've never seen her talk so much about their relationship since at any point, right? And I think and she's expecting. And so it's like a tour now, right? And what I always say about these things is the people that who you are trying to appeal to, it is political because who you are trying to appeal to, the question is, once you piss off Black people, once you piss us off, are those people who are in Trump's audience, is MAGA going to support you?
Correct.
Are they country grammar? A little MAGA country grammar?
So Nelly right now, he's fucking around and he found out that basically Ashanti don't want a man with no child. I'm saying this because it's like he has how many kids with her now too, right? They got one more on the way, right?
They got the one, and then they've got the one on the way.
So he's about to have 2 new kids
Right.
to go along with the 5 that he has already, right? Then
Okay.
so you got a wife and you gotta provide some money if you're not on the road. If you're because she's older, so she probably need more prenatal care than than anticipated, given birth at an older age, right? So I want to say that we don't pay Nelly's bills. If Donald Trump split him 6 figures to pay his bills while he's not performing, if that would be the case, then more power to you. But at the end of the day, the repercussions is now I'm doing damage control tour because nobody want to book me. Because
He's
I went
on
and performed
tour.
for Donald Trump.
He's on tour. That's the thing. He is on tour currently, right? I think I heard something about him having a Vegas residency. So it's like, but again, is the MAGA people, are the MAGA people going to be buying these tickets? Or is it going to be,
they don't like nothing black.
or is it going to be Tamika? I mean, they do and they don't, because some of the staunchest races are often sports fans, right? They will love them a black man running up and down the football field, the basketball court, right? But they're racist in real life. I don't think MAGA is his crowd. So I'm like, was a check big enough? It had to be.
Remember what happened to Chrisette Michelle? She struggled after she took that check.
She did.
That should have been the cautionary tale. Nelly probably perceives himself as a brand. Like Snoop is a brand that didn't get damaged because Snoop is still in commercials. Damn near every damn commercial Snoop is in it. So it's kind of to say maybe Nelly says, hey, I got enough money to where this puts me, like Nelly's not broke.
He's not broke.
He's not broke.
He's not
But
broke.
he's rich. So maybe generational wealthy at this point. So I mean, to each his own. But at the end of the day, it's like stop playing with black people. Because black people is like upset. We're the ones that support it.
Exactly. Well, you have to know. You got to be able, I think, to read the room, and it's important to read the room. And you even need to read the MAGA room, right? But most people don't mess with you. And I agree. Like with Snoop, I think that Snoop has definitely crossed over. He's the pop. He's a pop now, right? And he's getting the corporate money.
Yeah.
But I think when you talk to the average black person, they looking at him like, I don't know if I mess with him no more. Snoop basically, he's in the position where he's like, well, I'm probably not going to be touring, right? No time soon. I just feel like the checks are cut. And so he made a calculated decision. And he's like, I'm going to go over to this side over here. I mean, he reportedly got like 40 or 50 million from the Olympics, which he might be like, you know what? That's enough to settle me down for a bit. I don't need y'all little concert money.
You talking about Snoop, right?
I'm talking about Snoop.
Why did he get 40 million for the Olympics?
Between 40 to 70, because he was the ambassador for the Olympics, right? And so when he was here in Paris last year, he was the ambassador for the Olympics. He had a lot of goodwill. The check was cut. I would have expected him to get paid for it. He wasn't doing it for free. He might have made a calculation though and figured, he was like, okay, I got concert tickets from Live Nation or Ticketmaster or whatever, you know, the deals they do, those concert deals, versus this Olympic money. So maybe he figured, like, I'm gonna take this Olympic money, bank that for a bit. That's going to be more than this concert, and then I can support. It doesn't matter if I piss my fan base off, because I'm going to be good. I think they make calculated decisions. I don't think any of this is by accident or by happenstance.
I agree with you.
So
I agree with you.
You know,
they deserve every bit of that backlash, though.
Oh, they absolutely do. And one thing I will say about Snoop that I will never forget, I remember, I'm old enough to where I remember how much he dogged MC Hammer for that KFC commercial back in the day. When Snoop came out on Death Row Records, remember, he dogged MC Hammer for doing some of his commercial work, because MC Hammer was one of the first rappers to get a commercial deal, and Snoop dogged that man. Now Snoop was much younger, right? But now look at him. Now look at him.
He was too young to understand that he was caught up, I would say, as a young person, not understanding business and show business and brand business until he got with Master P. He was too caught up on being hard for the streets.
Yeah.
MC Hammer was caught up in making as much bank as he can.
Because he knew it was temporary. He knew how to business. Correct. The one thing about what Stanley Burrell, right? Is his name Stan or Stanley? The one thing about him is you can never take away, right, his business acumen, his business sense, and all of that. And he really, to be honest with you, is low key an OG. And correct. So people do not mess with him like that. And he knew to get in, get his money, and get out. And MC Hammer broke is not like our broke, okay? Right? He's done very well with his technology investments. And him and his wife have been married for a long time. They good now. He did what Trump did, right? Declare bankruptcy, wiped it on out, right? So no shade on him for that at all. Did what you had to do. And you know, he's collecting his checks.
Okay.
I would imagine.
Yes, he is. He is. Because every time, too legit to quit. Too legit.
Right.
Too legit to quit. He's getting a check for that.
Let me be 357, right? Right?
Uh-huh.
The group, right?
Yeah. Bring it on down.
Right.
Stop. Hammer time.
Right.
Yeah. No, but I mean, like, he went bankrupt because he employed a lot of people.
He did. He helped a lot of people. He really did. He
had too much people on his payroll. And Snoop, he might have dogged MC Hammer, but just like Redman and them found out, Hammer got that hammer.
Got the hammer.
Because the reason why Hammer got that hammer is because he had the neighborhood behind him. So the G's behind him that he should help support it.
Right.
You know, so that's basically like they had found out when they made a comment. But anyway, I mean, they're both brands. MC Hammer did his thing. Snoop is doing his thing. But at the same time, stop sitting here talking like, because if white people just put money in Snoop's pocket and he did the Trump thing and he got more commercials because he did the Trump thing, then he's on to something.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean,
marketing.
I just love how, you know, when Hammer, he was from what? Compton, right? Oakland. My bad.
Get it right.
Oh my God. Well, how did I get that wrong?
From that Bay Area. Get that right.
Right. He put everybody on.
Mm-hmm.
He put everybody on. So, yeah, he put everybody on. Love that about him. Unfortunately, him doing that did end up costing him financially, right? But I love the fact
Mm-hmm.
that he really did. He tried to feed the whole hood, and he said it like, okay, you need a job. He was trying to feed everybody, make sure everybody ate while he was
Yes.
eating. So I give him a lot of
Yes.
credit for that. I think it's not, I think it's generational, right? Like I'm waiting, and I don't know if he's got something out, but like I'm waiting for the book or something. Just you know,
He wrote
him.
a book. He did everything he could to pay off that debt. He did everything he could. So there's a book out there that he wrote himself, but it's just he had to pay. He did everything to pay off the debt. The problem
Right,
was when the market in music changed from stop, hammer time. That's
right,
why we pray. That's why we
right.
pray. You remember that?
I do.
So
I do.
when it changed from that to I got 5 keys on the block with my Glock in my hands trying to stay strapped because my man running from the when it changed to that gangster rap, nobody really saw that light with that light-hearted hip hop was gone.
And Snoop was behind a lot of that. You think about it, Snoop and Dre, they kind of came in,
Yeah, and
you
it
know.
don't stop.
Yep.
187 on the undercover cop. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. So there was the reason behind some of the clowning, right? Excuse me. There was a reason. So
The message changed.
yeah, I mean, I think we like to think of it as that's when hip hop was purer, but excuse me, right at that point is when it started to dilute, and we no longer became the main consumers of the industry. It became to be somebody else, some other people.
But it doesn't matter if it's hip hop, R&B, rock and roll, blues,
Excuse me.
jazz. It doesn't matter if we the ones that are doing the thing. The other side tends to always lean over and say, "Hey, I like this music. I like this artist," and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't want to. My thing is this: I don't think a white person should argue with a black man about what goes on in hip hop. Because yes, you are a consumer as well, but when we're talking about, I said, keep our black business out of their business, right?
Right.
So when we're arguing about hip hop, let's just say somebody LL did this and LL did that, and I'm like, well, you're not the same skin color, so I'm going to look at what LL did a little bit differently than you are. I'm not going to look at your culture and say, oh, King Juan Jones did this and he should have did this, because culturally it's different.
Right.
So when it comes to hip hop, I have an extreme biasness on it because it's like, with the whole music shifting, I don't want to hear about, not from you, not saying you, Tanisha, I'm just saying from the other side, because it's like the other side, you didn't influence the lyrics change. Politics influenced the lyrics change. The environment, Reaganomics, the environment influenced the lyrics change. Ain't gonna be no broken glass everywhere. Just don't care. It went from Nas, ain't so hard to tell. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It went from that to the cadence changed harder because I got to get to this audience that's going through what I'm going through. So that's the only reason why. That's the only reason why. Well, let me just finish that last thing. That's the main reason why MC Hammer tried to switch up his thing, but he went gangster talking about pumps in the bump.
Yeah, nobody was going to take him seriously after that pumps in the bump. But I will say this, the difference is that it went from like Daz Effects, it went from the old Busta Rhymes, and when I say the old, remember the group that he was in? It went from that, right. It went from lighthearted. Of course, you had your New York guys that were a little bit more in your face with it, but it went from lighthearted entertainment until people got involved who tend to do this with any music industry that we are, any genre that we create, which, let's be honest, music, we run it. Okay, we create, we are the forefront, we make it, we do it, is what we do. So once they got involved, they were able to change the narrative. And nobody ever had a problem with quote unquote gangster rap. The problem is when that is the only thing that was selling or promoted, because we always listened to different stuff. We liked the, the funny rap, the party rap, right? And then that part of hip hop. And then we liked the more gritty part of hip hop, right? We liked all of it. But it wasn't until the early 90s to when that shift began happening. And I think folks, the same thing. They were paid off. They were paid off. They were like, no, we not going with no MC Hammer, right? We're going strictly Dre, Snoop, Tupac, Biggie. And it just, everything kind of went in the other direction.
See, hip hop fans know when a hip hop artist is being pure,
right?
Because their soul is put into their music, right?
Exactly.
Remember Special Ed? I got it made. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Remember that?
Yep.
And then he tried to go gangster, and that's not him. He said that wasn't me. That my fans knew that's not me.
Exactly.
So when you have to go feel like you got to go street, and then that means you got to alter your whole life to go street, to be a street artist. That's somebody that's connected. You can still be connected to the street and speak on the philosophical level, like KRS-One.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, Run DMC. Run DMC, right?
Run DMC was kind of like, that style had faded out. That whole finishing each other's sentence style, that style really did fade out.
You think so?
And that's what kind of shut down Kid and Play career. But they were more versatile. They didn't have to do the my name is Kid, my name is Play, I'm here to do da da da. They didn't have to do that style. Because when you hear it, when you sing hola, hola, eh, hola, hola, eh, roll, Kid and Play now. You know what I'm saying? They gave you a different flavor. So Run DMC was still on that back and forth. So until they changed that method, when it came back with that, I'm down with the king, or whatever the end of that part was. But I'm just saying, like, hip hop, MC Hammer was about partying. He did speak about some street stuff, but he didn't do it in a way that NWA reached the crowd when they said "fuck the police."
Right.
He didn't reach them that way.
It was always LA has always been on some different stuff. And this is no shade to our LA folks, right? But LA has always been different. And we love that about them.
They're the pioneers of the reality rap, as they often said in NWA movies.
NWA.
Reality rap. They are the pioneers of that because nobody was rapping about stuff like that.
Their reality was a bit different. Their reality was a bit different, I think, being from where they were. It was different. But the beauty about, I think, hip hop was that you had all your different flavors in the mix, right? If you wanted like the Run DMC, New York dudes.
They got me in the mix.
Long Island, New York dudes doing their thing, right? Then you had your fun, you had your Kid and Play, which that was the fun entertainment. That was the movies. Come on, let's do the Kid and Play dance. Let's have some fun. The outfits, the high top fades, all of that. You had that part of it. And then you could go over here and you could, crip walk to what Snoop and Dre were doing, because Dre always did have, his producing skills. Dre always had the beats on lock, right? Let's just be honest. Right. And let's just be honest. So, and he can still, even now, all these many years later, 30 plus years later, you can still turn up on some Dre. Okay, you can still to this day. So there was a variety in the mix, and everybody was happy. Everybody was happy. You had your Detroit thing going on. You had your Chicago thing. You had East Coast, West Coast. You had your Southern rap, right? You had your Outkast, one of the greatest groups ever in the history of rap, right? You had
Right.
all of this Southern flavor, right? You had your New Orleans, you had your Master P. They brought something totally different, right? It was
Hmm.
a great time. It was a great time until it wasn't.
Right.
So, didn't mean to go down memory lane, hip hop memory lane. But
Listen, I think that's what matters is the culture. One of the hip hop legends is starting his trial for his daggone life. Unfortunately, some of his actions brought him to this point.
who
But
who are we talking about? Who?
Diddy trial
Oh, okay,
started
Diddy.
yesterday, I believe.
Okay, okay. Oh, I didn't
So
realize
I'm
that.
just yeah. So I'm just saying, like, memory lane is good because the golden ages of hip hop was the dopest era. It was the dopest era. I feel like this era of hip hop is gone. It's just rap. And when people say rap, it's like ain't that the same thing. Hip hop is more verbal, it's more cultural, it's more positive, it's more upbeat, it's more defining. Rap is just I'm just gonna rap some shit out of my mouth.
Yeah.
To
I,
me, that's what rap comes off as.
really? Okay. So
Yeah.
you make the distinction
Because you remember
between
the
hip hop and
yeah,
rap.
you could right, because hip hop always keeps it real.
Okay.
Always keeps it real. Always keeps it real. All the artists that did hip hop keeps it real. And I can't even judge these young cats because they all like you hear their music, and because it doesn't sound the way I like it, I
Yeah.
feel like well maybe they're not saying nothing, but I do listen to the lyrics, and sometimes they saying it. That sing rapping style is kind of like, can you do it a little bit harder? Can you go a little harder? There's one Drake, but then the beat though, it's no like he's let's topic. Let's topic.
It's okay. So, I'm gonna. Okay, so I guess we're gonna bring the other topics we have for today's show in for tomorrow. But I
All
will
right.
say this, if you don't mind me saying this, I definitely think it's a difference. I mean, the old school, like I consider myself old school, right? I'm an old school head, right? Definitely at the auntie age. So we would consider like some of the futures and some of the what's the rap that's out here now, the mumble rap, right? The southern
Mm-hmm.
influenced mumble rap, again, the futures and some of the other folks that are doing it. We would a lot of to us because we were raised on lyrics. It's like, ooh, it's hard. But I will say this, like back in the day, our parents, maybe grandparents, they thought we were probably losing our minds too, because for them, they were like, what is this hippity hop? Like, what is this rap? What are you doing? Right. So I try to give grace and space for that because they're doing their thing just like how we did our thing.
Hell, their parents probably thought they lost their mind with disco.
Exactly.
Shit,
Exactly.
but I mean, like, no, my grandmother was born in 1912, so I can't. She didn't. Disco wasn't in her era.
Right.
She probably grew up through it. But if you're talking about grandparents that's great grands now, maybe some of them that's great grands, they had went through disco. So I'm sure their people look at them like, what the hell is this? And then
Right.
you got funk music. That everybody has their generation of what is this,
They do.
and we're going through that now. But this one just seems like it's going on forever.
They might have thought the same thing about us, though. They might. I mean, I can imagine.
At least we had singers that really could sing.
Well, every generation says that, but
Shot fired! Shot fired!
every generation says that. Every generation thinks that, and it'll be interesting to see in 20 years what what quote unquote old school concerts they go to. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But I will say there is a good amount of young folks who do like 90s and 2000 era music and even some of the 80s. They rock with it. Like I have to give them some credit. They do rock with it. Not
Mm-hmm.
everybody is, listening to Migos and all the other, you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
It's some people out there. It's a growing amount of them who they're listening to the music that we as parents played.
Yep.
So when you hear a Chris Brown, right, and you hear him doing "Come and Talk to Me," the Jodeci remix, right? Like when you
Yeah.
hear him influencing that in his songs, when you hear these artists and when you hear a SZA and she's redoing like R&B, right? And you can hear that 90s stuff that I know that I listen to, you know, it does make you feel like, oh, you know, they're
I mean, but
listening.
the songwriter also put that in there too.
And the
Whoever
producer,
wrote the song, you know, like the producer.
Right.
So it's not like that artist is saying, "Can we do Come and Talk to Me?" They probably never even heard "Come and Talk to Me." And if I gave them more credit, if they heard "Come and Talk to Me," or if they heard Mary J. Real Love, they would try to make their vocals a lot better instead of singing songs that's like, damn, it sounds the same.
I think Chris Brown is probably. I think Chris Brown, his mama.
No, Chris is fine. Chris is fine.
Chris is fine. Like SZA, I think is,
Yeah.
you know, it's a couple of them though. SZA has some good stuff out, right? She does. It's SZA, it's Kehlani. It's like my daughters know all the people, but and I don't want to say and necessarily mess them up, but there are some. It's still some real music out there. You just have to look a lot harder for it. It's still there, I promise you.
Listen. When I heard Whitney Houston, I believe the children are our future. Teach them well, let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. That was like beautiful.
Right.
That was beautiful. Regardless of people like, oh, she's so pop. That was beautiful. I mean, her voice, even when she came out with a bodyguard, you know what I'm saying? I have nothing.
Classic.
Nothing if I don't. I mean, just like, if you can't sing like Whitney or Mariah or Patty or, you know, Aretha or Shaka Khan, they're pushing the wrong artists through, to be honest with you. They're pushing the wrong artists through. They're selling because they're willing to be less naked. They're less willing to be more naked than the other girls who are really just trying to sing. You know, so they're pushing the wrong artists through. And our younger generations are connecting with that artist because they feel like, oh, they're brave, they're powerful because they're walking around in their drawers. So and they walk around with nothing on. Versus, you know, when you were coming up, you might have saw Whitney in a dress like, ooh, girl, you know what I'm saying? Or I might have seen Jodeci with an outfit on, like, damn, no, that shit dope as hell. I want to try, I wish I could have that on. You know what I'm saying? So when I look at like they're pushing the wrong artists, they're pushing the wrong talent, and the female vocalist side, I don't even listen to that no more. And there's some dudes out here that's really doing it, but you got the rappers who sing rapping. It kind of it's like only person of this generation for me is Chris Brown.
See, like to me, like, okay, literally, we grew up seeing Jodeci in the desert, right, with these leather vests on and leather pants on. But this is what I always say about that. Anything you see these younger folks doing, they are a product of us. So I still remember how folks dogged Little Kim, talked about Foxy Brown. I think that we have a history of it is so much hypocrisy for me to see somebody like Snoop about, women rappers, right, and how they are now. And I'm like, sir, you are the person who bragged about your D, and most male rappers in the 80s and 90s did. I remember all the stuff.
They did.
Don't let me go through the crates. AMG Boys. What's the other one? Hoop there. What's the other one? I can't think of the name of it right now. But it's so many groups that talked about nothing, but they all talked about their parts and man parts and what they were going to do to women. So it's really hypocritical for us now to say, okay, Sexy Red or a Cardi B or other artists. They are doing. Did we freeze up? Can you hear me?
She's nasty.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Okay. It's just a little. It's very much hypocritical. These younger folks, people forget that back in the day, Little Kim was not popular. I remember the album cover she did. I remember the heat she got for it. Every generation is going to have their particular people, and the more we talk about those particular ones, the more that's what they're banking on.
Mhm.
They're banking on us, the old people, talking about them. Like, oh, who is that? Who is that sexy red? I don't know what you know what I'm trying to say. So it's kind of one of those things. If we did our thing, we didn't see it that way, but we did our thing. And so this generation is doing the same thing.
So I
Just
watched a
differently.
video with Tanisha, with the OMG girls, and
Okay.
they try to recreate SWV, not SWV. I'm sorry, Escape version. They try to recreate "Who Can I Run To," right?
Okay.
And when the song came on, I cut the song off within 30 seconds.
Let me ask you one question real quick. Who is the OMG Girls? Is that the group with the Tiny's daughters
Yes,
group? Okay.
yes.
Okay.
And the reason why I cut the song off in 30 seconds, because the harmony wasn't there. The
Okay.
talent is there. The talent is there, but the harmony, I'm like, okay, you're recreating your mom's group video, which your mom directs, and I understand that's the vision she wanted, right? But when the
Right.
song hits, I'm like, okay, which one of y'all can really sing? Like, which one of y'all can bring it home? Because the video wasn't matching what should have been brought.
Okay, got you. So I get it. I think it's going to be number one. SWV does not get the credit. Okay, between Coco and all of their voices, the way they
Naja
know.
Lele.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Thank you for those names. I was definitely forgot the names, but the way their voices blended together was perfection. And so I think that in a lot of ways, that group singing that they're young and they're kids. So I'm trying to be careful of what I say. I think they maybe did their best. I haven't heard it. I did hear some.
They're not kids. These are grown women now. They're grown women now. They're not kids
How old are they?
anymore.
Aren't they?
They had some babies. They pushed out some babies, so they're not kids. They should be somewhere around 28, 29 right now.
Are we talking about the same group?
OMG girls, right?
Yeah, I thought that was Tiny's
Yes.
the youngest kid,
Yeah.
her youngest daughters.
Yeah, they're about 20. They're close to 30. They're not babies anymore. When they were teenagers, they were. Huh?
I'm thinking of a different group. I'm thinking of Tiny's youngest kids. Her.
Oh, the
small
little
daughter.
baby? You talking about little baby? Harris?
They got a group. Yeah, they got a group.
No, Harris is fire. Harris.
Yeah,
she's
that's what
fire.
I'm thinking of. Okay, so
she's
I got to.
fire. Like that little girl.
She
just
good.
got the world in her. She's good. She's going to be something. But I'm just talking about, like, even if you're getting back together, your focus, if you're going to be your pop group, even pop groups in the 80s and 90s have better vocal harmony. If you're going to be something like that, you got time to practice. Don't rush coming out. Do the vocal training so that way you can elevate as a group.
I don't think they should have even, if you are not, it's like doing a Mariah Carey, Aretha Franklin, the people you just mentioned earlier. If you do a remake of any of those songs, you have to be so on point because people gonna drag you by your eyelashes if you miss a note. So it's kind of like, unless you are going to do that song justice, baby, don't even do it. You just hum it. Don't even do it. Don't do yourself like that. Like, it's certain people, I feel like Jasmine Sullivan, J Hud. It's a few people who can do those songs who have the range, but most people do not have it, right? What's her name? Christina Aguilera always will be like Bay, right? Because that girl can blow. What's her name? She's a newer artist. She reminds me of Mariah. I can't think of her. Not Selena Gomez. What is that child's name? Ariana Grande.
Hell no.
Ariana has some pipes.
Hell no. 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 No.
Ariana
She is not no reminders of no. She is not Mariah.
reminds
No.
me a little bit of Mariah.
Nope. Nope. In my pop's voice. Nope.
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 Oh Lord.
Nope.
Oh Lord. Come on now. Come on.
Nope. Ariana
Nope.
Grande was reminding her of Mariah. Exactly. My nephew even looked. He gave us a
He said
stank
no.
face.
He said no. Okay.
Look at the stank. Get that stank face. You see that stank face? I said it all right there. Nope.
But it's a
Ariana
few people.
Grande, Mariah Carey? Hell no.
Who is it the Mariah Carey remake that I'm thinking of? This girl on it's so many people who do all these covers. You never can tell who is who. But this one girl did a cover of her, and I'm like, oh my God, is that Mariah's child? Because this girl had her pitch to the T.
It probably was a child.
No, her kids don't her daughter, I can't remember what her name is, but the twins, they don't the little girl doesn't sing. But she was about her age, and I was like, is that Mariah's
No, the
baby?
little girl sings. There's some clips of her singing. She probably
Is
not
that
ready.
Mariah's-
I mean, like, put it like this. To be Mariah Carey's daughter and you come out singing, everybody's going to expect you to sound like Mariah. That's why
That's like
Bobby
Bobby
Christina
Christina.
didn't come out singing.
Exactly. Exactly.
Correct.
Because
She could
everybody
sing, like, but Bobby Christina could sing, but everybody will be like, well, you're not your mama. Especially black people, you're not your mama. And now you're going to put this on Mariah Carey's daughter, you're not your mama.
I think voices like that, they come once a generation. They're not common, right? That's like Minnie Riperton, right? That voice is not common, will never be common. Mariah never will be common. Aretha and some other ones, Whitney, I'm adding her all in there, right? They will never, it's like that's once a generation if you're lucky. So Bobby, like
did you know that Tracy Ellis Ross? Did you know that Tracy Ellis Ross did a song for one of her movies?
No, I didn't know that.
She sang a song on the movie that she played a singer.
Did you hear it?
I heard her.
So what did you think?
Can she sing like her mother? No. Does she have a voice? Yeah.
Okay.
And I think she was so nervous, and that's why she didn't do singing, because once people find out she's Diana Ross's daughter, that judgments will come.
Exactly.
Imagine if Michael Jackson really had, you can't convince me that white kids is his, but I'm going to respect the king of R&B that those are his children, right? But imagine if Michael Jackson really had children. Imagine if he really had children.
Right.
And that child will come out, hell, his nephews, 3T.
Right.
They could sing, but they all sing out compared to who? Their uncles. And damn sure their most famous uncle. You know, so any kid that's a Jackson, and the one now that's playing Michael Jackson in the biopic, it's the same thing with your father. Hey, do you sound like your father? Do you sound like your uncle? Nope. I don't.
It's hard. It's hard because nobody's voice was like Michael's. Even amongst his brothers, they were all good, but nobody's voice was like Michael's. So how do you, okay, we know Michael Jackson said those were his 3 kids, right? The question is, were they biologically his 3 kids? So
no.
Yeah, it's a debate about that. And I'm just saying, like, how do you come after that, right? It's really difficult for you as a child unless you sound, and you, like you said, we're gonna say, oh, you sound just like your mama. But if you don't, we're gonna tell you that too.
Brian McKnight's 2 oldest sons, Nico and Brian Jr., the first Brian Jr., sounds just like Brian McKnight.
Yeah.
When they used to go around singing with each other, they both sound like their dad.
Right.
You're going to either have a natural voice affliction like your parents,
right,
or if you're going to have vocal training to where you don't want to sound like your parents,
right,
it's going to be harder because you're going to have that. If you talk like your father, you're going to sound like your father. So It's going to be harder to get rid of that natural vocal affliction. And it's okay if you sound like your father. It's okay. You can do a different lane than what he did, you know? So it's like I schooled my nephew on Fantasia and Casey and JoJo being cousins.
Yep.
And one of my friends, they didn't know that they were family. I'm like, dude, you can't hear that screaming. And then I heard JoJo. Huh?
I'm sorry.
I was gonna say I heard JoJo on the song, right? It was Lately when they did the Stevie Wonder cover Lately.
One of my
and
favorite
JoJo
songs.
was hitting some riffs. JoJo was hitting some riffs. You know who you sound like when you sing? Why he goes for the higher tone? He sounds like his brother.
He sounds like his brother.
He sounds just like his brother. That's why he goes for the higher tones. Even in the higher pitch, he sounds like KC.
He sound like KC. But I think Fantasia was really smart, though, because Fantasia was smart in that she had to get it, like, quote unquote, on her own in a lot of ways. And I don't know what kind of help they provided. You know what I'm trying to say?
None.
But I think it was
they had their mom said, "Baby, don't go out there." They were there when she won American Idol. They were backstage. They tell you this every time. We were backstage to support our cousin. They're not like a distant cousin and she just got famous. They're first cousin.
First cousins.
Fantasia mama is their the Fantasia mama is their aunt. And their mom said, "No, don't go out there. Do not, because if you go out there, it's going to take away from everything she worked for."
Exactly.
Every
people are going
single
to
thing.
People go, because we didn't think about it. When did we really know they were cousins? I want to say maybe in the last 10 years, 5 years.
Hell no. It's been known. It was known that they were, I mean, like after she won, she even said, that's where, I think maybe a year after American Idol, it got revealed. But it was revealed way longer than that. It's just whoever decides to retain that information. You know, but then you start seeing the vocal similarities. Fantasia is the female version to KC.
But I think it was smart, like you mentioned. You mentioned how they were backstage, which I didn't know that, and it was a smart move because then she's automatically going to be compared, just like we're comparing them now. People are going to say
compared. Her accomplishment is going to get diminished, as if the judges knew that she was their cousin. And let's vote her to win.
You helped her some kind of way. She will be compared, and also both of them, right? She would be. You helped her out.
And then here's the other part of that too. Why didn't y'all help her get on?
That's a natural question.
Why she had to go to American Idol? Why she, so that's a whole nother part of it. So it's like, that's why the mom said, don't take this away, babe. Just stay back here. So their parent knew that. Remember, they were a whole big singing family. They was their whole big singing family. So it's quite natural. It makes sense. It makes sense that they're cousins.
It's kind of like the Braxton family, right? Like they talked about the Braxtons talked about how Tony was the one that made it. Remember, because I think that they all wanted a group deal, but Tony was the one who made it. And the thought was, well, Tony, we all sing, but you go ahead and go out there, get what you get, right? And then you'll bring us along. And then the Braxton sisters worked, background and they got other opportunities. And they now obviously have, independent careers, right? So it's interesting how things go. And sometimes,
the Braxton sisters had their own single with Jay-Z. That just didn't go nowhere.
Right.
There's a
I think
single
they tried.
They tried, but the reason why they plucked Tony, the voice. Remember, I said sometimes people have a voice that you can't deny. Tony sounds like Miss Anita Baker. Yeah. She has that deep voice. So
she does.
Compared to her sisters, her register that. Even when Tamar did it on her song, it doesn't go that deep. She can imitate Tony all she wants. She can sit here and make fun of her. That's what. But at the end of the day, Tony's register is so unique that it's like, how can we not sign her as a solo act?
Right.
And it paid off. Because
Right.
what if she was lost in that whole group aspect and she got to
Right.
sing like the group? Or the group, that's going to mess, then when she goes out there by herself, it would have messed up her chances of being a solo artist.
Exactly. Exactly. This is true.
But that is true. See, let's finish this conversation tomorrow.
Exactly.
This is
We've
the
been
first
talking
time in a
for an
long time we went over an hour and a minute, but we'll
Yeah.
finish all of this tomorrow.
Absolutely.
All
All
right.
right. Stay black, y'all.
All right, today in Black America, y'all
See y'all
stay black.
tomorrow.
I ain't even see you heard me, sir, couch. Today in Black America, stay black.
Stay black, y'all.
All right.
Bye.